Hello, my geeslings. If you are one of these geeslings, know that I love you. You're very special and you're very important. And speaking of importance, this is the single most important episode I've put out thus far of the 6 that are out thus far. That's because in other episodes, we've discussed the United States military, math, collecting, the philosophy of pornography. But in this episode, all we talk about is ice cream, and ice cream is the most significant of all these topics. I have my uncle on. His name is Uncle Perry. We each have 3 pints of ice cream. We eat those pints of ice cream, and we talk about them as we eat them. That's all that really needs to be said about this episode. It was, at the time I recorded it, an experiment, but I've since come to realize that this is the future of media. Media will be about eating food and talking about that food. So I've recorded a number of episodes like this since then. But I would still like to hear from you, my geeslings, how you feel about it, what sorts of foods you'd like me to be eating with my guests and talking about. My friend Phil, with whom I did one last week, I'm doing another one tonight, another one on Thursday. He wants to do salads. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. But the world is quite literally my oyster on this podcast, Robinson's podcast. So, anyway, I really hope you enjoy this and let me know how you feel about it. All right, welcome, my uncle. That's me saying welcome, Uncle Perry.
Nice to be here.
For this episode of Robinson's podcast. I don't know what order I'm going to publish things in, but clearly this is going to be an important episode, so I'll probably want to get that out first.
A seminal episode.
I did a sushi episode with one of my friends. We didn't actually eat sushi, but we talked about sushi. But this is what I hope to be the first of many ice cream based episodes, because ice cream is very dear to my heart. So we're each having 3 pints of ice cream, and I just want to say how pleased I am with your level of dedication and preparation to this endeavor.
It's a daily pleasurable activity for me. So the podcast on eating ice cream, it's just like, it's all good.
So I had you go to the store twice, I think, because the first time I didn't like that you had purchased ice creams that you'd already eaten, which sort of slightly defeated the purpose. It would have been okay, but all right.
I do now. I have virgin ice creams, FYI. Everything's okay.
Before I go get my 3, I'd like you to show the camera
the great reveal.
Yeah, the great reveal. What you've got. You don't reveal the flavors yet, but. So for those audio only listeners, my uncle has a sort of bowl basket sort of thing with 3 pints of ice cream, 3 spoons, all covered in ice. So he's ready. And all right, I'm gonna go get mine now.
All right. Oh, look, it's the Robinson chair. It's beautiful. That's very funny. So in Robinson's podcast hosts absence, Robinson, what I'm able to see in front of me is the head of Robin, sidekick to Batman, with a microphone mostly eclipsing or obfuscating his face. But he's now going to be up. There it is, Robinson John. And that, of course, was famously made by Robinson's paternal grandfather, my paternal.
All right.
Probably when Robin was a year old.
My first pint of ice cream is, I'm going to preface this actually with a preface. So, since I got back from New York City, I've been and this is, I guess, me just talking to you, but also to people who are listening,
Yeah,
obviously,
whoever's listening.
how these things go. I've been experimenting with the diet ice creams because,
That's an oxymoron. You know that, right?
yeah. But I like to
Cre-
eat a pint of ice cream every day, but some days I don't eat as many calories. And on those days, I like the idea of having an ice cream that I can eat. So I've been
Sure.
experimenting with them, and I've tried a bunch of brands. The best is absolutely Fairlife. Have you seen that anywhere in Detroit?
Can I see the label? I don't recognize
Well,
the
this isn't.
name.
It's not what I have right
Oh,
now.
got it. I don't recognize the name.
Yeah,
And I'm in.
they
I'm in
only just
Detroit.
came to. They only just came to our Jewel recently, but they're so good. So, like a pint is like 520 calories or something, and which is half of Ben and Jerry's. But calorie equated, I would rather have the Fairlife. Like if I could have 1,000 calories of each, I'd rather have 2 pints of the Fairlife. Though I mean, pint for pint, I'd rather have Ben and Jerry's because it's obviously creamier and sweeter. But some of them are
Sure.
also bad. Like some of them taste really artificial. But so today, for my first pint, I decided to sort of go from least intense to most intense. So at 330 calories per pint, my first pint is going to be Halo Tops chocolate cake batter.
Wow.
Yeah.
330. And just a question: are you going to be eating all 3 pints of ice cream, or will you be sampling the
I'm going to
pints?
eat all 3 pints of ice cream.
All 3 pints. You're quite the podcaster, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm
All
doing
right.
this for the people. But wait, so what's your first one?
What temperature is it? Did you have to dig a lot to? I mean, part of this is talking about what's the right consistency to eat the ice cream at. I think.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Because you're
Yeah.
an ice cream microwaver, right?
So I do, if needed, I have that tool in my arsenal. I could put the ice cream in the microwave for no more than 15 seconds, depending on the quantity of ice cream, to loosen it up.
I
I
never
can't
do
wait.
that.
I can't wait. In other words,
There's one ice cream brand of the diet ice creams, Enlightened. Have you seen that?
not again. I try to look away when it says diet ice cream. It just doesn't
Okay,
make
well they
sense to me.
actually say light ice cream, but
Yeah,
that one
same
comes out.
difference.
It's like a rock. Some of their pints, but no, I am a staunch microwave opponent for all things. I hate the
Because
microwave.
are you worried it's going to end your life or just cause a
No,
cancer or what?
for some reason I'm just in principle opposed to microwaves.
Yeah,
If I
that's
really had
fair.
to think about it, I don't like that it heats things pretty unevenly.
Sure. So that's
I
why
don't like.
sometimes they have the rotary thing, the
Yeah.
merry-go-round. Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't like them. The only thing I ever really use them for is when I get the frozen White Castle cheeseburgers. I'll make
Sure.
an
Well,
exception for that.
yeah, it's important to make it. So what do you think? How's that cake batter chocolate thing going over there? Yeah,
I
the
like that
second
there's
bite.
sprinkles in it.
Uh-huh.
I'm about 4 bites in.
Do
There
you by the
are.
way do you always call sprinkles, or do you sometimes call them jimmies? Some people call them jimmies.
I've never called them Jimmy's, but I saw my mom bought my sister Blake likes sprinkles a lot, and my mom bought her some,
Jimmies.
and they were called Jimmy's, and I didn't know what that was about, but
I just
now I
want to
do.
add. I just want to add here. This is additive.
Mm-hmm. Please add as much as you want. So for 330 calories a pint, I mean, I think this is absolutely amazing, but compared to any other ice cream,
Yeah,
well, not any
that's
other
a
ice cream.
relative. It's a relative statement. So if we're just reviewing diet ice creams, that would be one thing. But I
Yeah, I
think we're
mean,
going full
yeah,
blown.
yeah. No, I mean, my dad always says, I'm sure that he's not the only person to ever say this, but even bad pizza is like really good pizza.
That's my housemate, my girlfriend, my tenant in common also says that too. Even
Yeah,
bad
and
pizza is good.
it's true. It's like I can't think of any pizza I've had that I didn't want to be eating, no matter how bad it was.
You've had La Rosa's in Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Have we talked about this recently?
My dad said it was the worst pizza he's ever had recently, too.
That's the worst pizza. So the question for your father would be, e- even the worst pizza you've ever had, is that still good? And by the way, when I recently had La Rosa's Pizza, I ate it. I did not
Yeah.
eat it. I just
We
complained a
should get
lot
it
during
next
it.
time we're all in Cincinnati. But
If we have to.
I was in Cincinnati with my dad. Well, you were there, but
I was there.
I've never had a Skyline chili before because it has tomatoes. But as you know, I'm not allergic to tomatoes anymore. So when we were just there, he got some Skyline conies, and I
Sure.
tried it, and it didn't do anything for me. Not at all.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed. Yet he wolfs those things down.
He does. He's a big wolfer all the way back. I like Skyline chili. I like Cincinnati chili. It's predicated on mostly not being a coney dog, but it's being served on a bed of spaghetti, which is how I'd recommend eating it.
I think I told you about this, but my favorite comedian, his name is Tim Dillon, and I was listening to a podcast episode where he was talking about Cincinnati, and he was saying you see people around there walking around with their pajama pants and their vapes, and he thinks no other city is more deserving of their food than Cincinnati, which is mounds of spaghetti with chili and fluorescent cheese piled on top of it.
Piled high, the Wisconsin shredded cheddar with 3 inches, and the UDFA, the United Dairy Farmers, on every corner serving up malts. They're always
we'll get to UDFA, but all right. In the interest of not holding things up too much, so this, I'm getting no cake batter whatsoever. It just tastes like chocolate ice cream with sprinkles in it, and I don't like chocolate ice cream, but for light ice cream, I'm happy with it. But my scale, as you know, is 25 bad, 50 saltine, 75 good. And I'm not going to say that this is good, but I'd still way rather be eating that than saltines. So I'm going to give chocolate cake batter a 71. It doesn't taste... Halo Top, one thing that I like about it is that it really doesn't taste that artificial. It's just really light and fluffy, which...
so there's dairy. So there's cow milk in there. It's just not as premium in terms of, it's not whole. It's not cream. It's milk. Grandma Carey used
they
to
have
call
cream in
that
there too.
ice milk. There's cream in there, just less proportionally.
Yeah. The number one ingredient is ultra filtered skim milk, which I've seen before elsewhere. So Fairlife makes ultra filtered milk, and it's just, I don't know what the ultrafiltration process consists in, but it ends up with a lot less sugar and fat and a lot more protein. But all right, let's go to your first pint. I want to see what.
All right, so I've got 3. I'm gonna go from
Wait,
the
don't
most...
tell us what they are though.
I'm good. I'm gonna go from the most well-known brand to the least well-known brand. And I've never had these flavors. I've never had one of these brands. These flavors from these makers. Okay. So the most well-known brand I've got is, maybe you've heard of Ben & Jerry's, Vermont based. I remember when Ben & Jerry's came out in the late 80s, and I was in Vermont, and it was brand new, and I was driving through Vermont, driven to find Ben & Jerry's before I got through Vermont, and I did find a pint. So I went yesterday and I got this pint, and I was looking for something I hadn't had, which was hard, and it's a Gimme S'more. Gimme S'more.
All right, let's see that.
And you could read what it says there. What kind of ice cream is that?
I can't. So read it to me.
Toasted marshmallow ice cream with chocolate cookie swirls. Already, that's to me a technical foul. If it's going to be s'more ice cream, it shouldn't have cookie swirls. It should have chocolate in it, not chocolate cookies. Graham cracker swirls. It's a big swirl ice cream, and fudge flakes. I'd love to have the job of writing. Yeah. Okay. This is a very good consistency. I look at it like Ben & Jerry's. You can see that there's some stuff mixed in.
Can I see it?
Yeah.
All right. That does look very Ben & Jerry's-y to me.
It's 1,240 calories. Again, I don't care about that, but it's something you're talking
Good.
about. And
Good.
you mentioned the first ingredient, so I think that we should play that game. My first ingredient, no freaking ultra anything. It just says cream. Okay,
Good.
it's ice cream.
As
All
it
right,
should
here we
be.
go. As it should be.
Oh, so you have a very soft consistency already.
Creamy. The
Yeah.
cookies have the cookies are. I taste the chocolate cookies. I don't really taste the graham cracker cookies that much. It's marshmallow ice cream. I don't know what that means. I've never had toasted marshmallow ice cream. I kind of want real marshmallows in s'mores ice cream.
Yeah. Does it
I have a
taste marshmallowy?
I just got chocolate flake. Gotta like the chocolate flake.
Fudge flake. I got a pint of Ben and
I
Jerry's
I stand corrected. Fudge flake.
Yeah, I had a pint of Ben and Jerry's a week ago. It was.
Yeah.
Have you ever had their topped varieties?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, where they put the ganache on top and some other stuff. I really am a big fan of that ganache, but I got their topped dirt cake, which was vanilla pudding ice cream with ganache and then like some Oreo crumbles. But their vanilla pudding ice cream there was no pudding to it. It was just like
Yeah.
bad vanilla.
Bad false advertising. So your question, does it taste marshmallowy? I'd say no. I'd say the marshmallowness is obfuscated by the chocolate cookie and the fudge flake stuff. You're a little frozen. I'm not sure if I'm frozen. Fuck. I'm frozen.
All right, you were saying that the marshmallow was obfa. That's all I got.
Yeah, obfa. You don't want an obfa marshmallow ever. Obfuscated, eclipsed, taken over, overruled by. It was obfuscated by the other flavors, the chocolate. So it's good. It's sweet and creamy like Ben and Jerry's delivers on. There's lots of stuff in there. Pardon me for licking the carton. But I don't taste the marshmallowiness. I think I'd want some, if it's marshmallow ice cream, I'd want some marshmallowiness or just marshmallows for crying out loud.
What's your general take on Ben and Jerry's?
Different than you, I believe. Well, there's a place for Ben and Jerry's. I like certain Ben and Jerry's flavors. I like that it, in many ways, started all of us down this path, 35 years ago of like having ice cream like this. You can't imagine a world without Ben and Jerry's. I lived in that world and it was tragic.
Yeah, it probably would be.
All the stuff that they pour in there, I'm more like to focus on the ice cream and not all the stuff. I get that you like lots of candy and stuff in there.
I love this stuff.
But I love Chubby Hubby, Chunky Monkey, Fish Food, Ben and Jerry's. I love many Ben and Jerry's flavors. And I'm glad that it exists because it kind of revolutionized stuff.
One of the few perfect hundreds I've ever given is one of the 3 ice creams that you tried to smuggle into this ice cream fest last night.
Can I guess what it is? Is it the namesake of what I just ate?
Yeah.
Yeah, Grater's S'mores ice cream is you only gave it 100. That's disappointing to me. That's 106 to me.
You think it's that good?
I'm
Grater's.
Grater's is amazing. I like what they've done. They've integrated its graham cracker ice cream.
Yes.
When you taste that, I love the little marshmallows they have in there because they taste marshmallowy or they feel marshmallowy. And then the milk chocolate. Most Grater's ice creams are bittersweet chocolate chips,
right,
which are good, but I prefer milk chocolate in this and then their toffee chip ice cream. So I think it's 100 plus. That's a good ice cream right there.
Yeah. Well, I'm conflicted about my 100 because I think that graham cracker base in that ice cream is absolutely perfect. I love it. And then, like you, I love the milk chocolate chips. But I don't love the marshmallows. I would like more of a
A
and
swirl. You're a
UDFA
swirl
style
guy.
marshmallows. I'm a swirl guy, big swirl. So like
UDFA.
I
Do people
love.
know? Do people know what UDFA is? Do we need to define terms here?
Yeah, please define UDFA.
UDFA is the name that your mother 20 something years ago. I don't know if you know this story.
I
United
don't.
Dairy Farmers, like I said before, is like a United Dairy is like a convenience store on every corner in Cincinnati. And it's where we grew up, going to get milk and ice cream and stuff like that. And at some point in time, I think your mother, my ex-wife Alyssa, and some kids, you, Blake, Charlie, Caleb, Rebecca, who knows, were driving around by themselves in Cincinnati, which is where me and Ronnie grew up. Of course, they didn't grow up. And your mom was desperately looking for an UDFA for some reason. And she called it. She maybe stopped somebody on the corner and said, "Do you know where the UDFA is?" And the people looked at your mother like she's crazy because people don't call it UDFA. It's UDF, but somehow it became nicknamed in our family UDFA because we needed some vowels. And
That's
they
funny.
kind of looked at her like she's crazy. Anyway, UDFA ice cream. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom's terrible at pronouncing things. She meant to say the other night. She said she was going to have guacamole for dinner instead of guacamole.
Maybe she was feeling lonely. Yeah. Yeah.
Newt Scamander is the main character in the Harry Potter series that's going on right now. She called him Newt Scalamander or something the other day. She's just not good with
UDFA. That's beautiful.
Yeah. But so I love UDFA ice cream. It's so I mean there are various breeds of ice cream. Like I think this is diet ice cream. Then there's your sort of conventional crappy ice cream like a Breyers or something like that. And then you have the premiums like Graders. And UDFA is like peak crap ice cream.
So UDFA has two varieties of ice cream, right?
They have
the regular, and then they have their homemade brand made by UDFA, United Dairy Farmers. Yeah, there's definitely a place in the world for UDFA. I grew up on it. You mentioned the chocolate marshmallow. I know it's your sister's favorite ice cream. It's packed with marshmallow goodness,
Yeah,
but not
I
marshmallows,
love that marshmallow.
but marshmallows, fluff. Swirl.
But anyways, back to Graders. So when I go to the Graders in Cincinnati, I always get a sundae because of three things. One, their black raspberry sauce is amazing. Two, their homemade marshmallow is amazing. And three, their homemade whipped cream is amazing. But
yeah,
so that's what I get on my sundae. But
are you allergic to pecans?
No, but I don't like them particularly.
Got it. Because they put there. Sorry, I know I'm interrupting the podcaster himself. When they ask, "Do you want cherries or nuts?" The nuts they use are pecans, which is very different than most places, which would just use peanuts. So I always go for the cherry, of course, and the pecans. I'm a cheap
I go
guy.
for the cherry.
Yeah.
But their marshmallow is so good that I wish that they would just use that marshmallow in the ice cream itself.
I got it, yeah.
But the problem there is that it probably doesn't freeze perfectly. I mean, the ice cream, the marshmallow that UDFA uses is, I'm sure, specifically formulated for that purpose. Like Ben & Jerry's has toppings down to a science, and I don't always love their fillings, but they have, I think it was topped mint cookies. I had that one recently, and it blows my mind, the chemistry of what they've done there.
Sure.
Because there's a swirl in that ice cream that when you go into it with your spoon and you eat it, it has the consistency of a baked cookie. But obviously they're not baking the ice cream with the cookie in it. So I just take my hat off to them.
Well, and your hat remains off, it looks like. But this is an important point because it's the balancing of food science with sort of homemade authenticity without having to have too many chemists in the lab. And so, yeah, on one hand, Ben & Jerry's has it down to a science, like you said, but do you sacrifice anything in having it so produced is a question. The third pint I'm going to have at some point in time, it's just like a local gelato place that probably doesn't have a lot of chemists in their kitchen. They probably have one guy, licking the bowl.
All right. Well, speaking of chemists, I'm going to go to my second pint.
Okay, I'm going to put my first pint in the in the freezer. BRB.
Nothing more.
Nothing more. Is
Nothing
that
I
the
like
name of
more
the
than
ice
ice
cream?
cream. Huh?
Are you on
There's
the second pint?
I will be. I'm just getting all the liquid that is melted at the bottom of the other pint.
You're
Unlike
done
you.
with it? You finished the other pint? That's impressive.
Oh yeah.
Dang, brother.
Anyway, so talking about food science, my second pint is probably very food science. I'll just turn that into an adjective. It's actually, I guess I'm breaking my rule. It's probably a flavor that I've had before, but probably not in 20 plus years. So I was listening to a podcast again with Tim Dillon, and he was talking to a friend of his, Ray Kump, who is another podcaster, and they were talking a lot about ice cream, and they mentioned Baskin Robbins, and his favorite flavor, Ray Kump's, was pink bubblegum.
Pink bubblegum is classic. That's the best ice cream. I love that.
You've had that?
I've had that for sure when I was a
Okay,
kid.
awesome.
That was a go-to flavor at Baskin Robbins. Down the street from Baskin Robbins in Cincinnati in Roselawn was a place called Old Town. Old Town also had bubblegum ice cream. It wasn't just pink bubblegum, it was multi-flavored or multi-colored bubblegum. I used to like Old Town's bubblegum ice cream too. May it rest in peace. Rip.
Well, at Jewel, where I got all this ice cream, Baskin Robbins was two for $5, so that's a good deal.
Yes, sure, you can't go wrong with that.
Looks
That's
very
a Papa.
pink.
That's a Grandpa Oren kind of price right there. A little too expensive for him. It's pink.
Okay, let's see.
One of the things about bubblegum ice cream I'll be curious about, because mostly with the bubblegum that's secondary, I see the face. You know, like bubblegum in your baseball cards or whatever. The bubblegum itself is kind of hard to chew and to make a bubble out of. You know, and you should be able to make a bubble out of bubblegum, I think.
But not this bubblegum.
Why call it bubblegum?
I don't think it's actual gum.
So does it disintegrate and then? Did you swallow it?
Yeah.
Do you have a ambulance waiting outside just in case? I should have signed a waiver before.
My friend told me this the other day, that if you take ice cream and you invert the spoon, when you put it in your mouth, you hit way more taste buds. And that makes sense, but it doesn't make sense to me why just eating the ice cream, like swirling it around your mouth, doesn't hit all those taste buds. But
yeah, people say a lot of things. I just want to point that out right away.
But it seems to be working. I like it like this.
And it's different. It's sort of like using another hand to do something. It's a different experience. Yeah.
First,
all right, so wait, just to clarify the bubble gum, you're actually swallowing the bubble gum?
Yeah, I am.
What if you chew it? Does it want to be gum, or does it just want to be swallowed and stay in your
I'll try.
system
I'll think about it for this one.
Okay, I appreciate that. And is there a lot of bubble gum, or is it hit and miss?
I don't think it wants to stay in my mouth. I think it wants
What's
to be
the
swallowed.
flavor? Is the flavor's good?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this, actually.
What's the first ingredient?
Cream.
Cream. That's ice cream. None of this ice milk.
No. I'm very happy with this. So you used to eat this as a kid, really?
Yes, I used to. Baskin Robbins was a go-to place, along with United Dairy Farmers and Old Town. We didn't go to Grater's as little kids, but when I went to Baskin Robbins, which was probably the place where we go to the most, we didn't go out a lot for ice cream. I would get bubblegum ice cream.
I am a big fan of this.
Or peppermint fudge ribbon. Peppermint fudge ribbon was another winner for me back then.
Big fan.
What other Baskin Robbins flavor? You got, it was 2 for $5. What other BNR flavors did you get?
I got
ketchup.
No, I got like crazy rainbow sherbet or something.
I once speaking of ketchup ice cream, you laugh. I once heard some whatever podcast or somebody talking about the science of Baskin Robbins, and that's science. And how many flavors never hit the market, and one of the flavors that never hit the store was, you guessed it, ketchup ice cream. Now you can have it though, because you've overcome. It's a miracle. You've overcome the ketchup, the tomato problem. Yeah.
I'm going to give this an 88. This hits hard.
You're generous today. That's good. That's great.
Hey, I'm not that generous. I gave Cake Batter 71. No, this is very good.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying that. And a bargain too. Mm-hmm. Not that we're looking for bargains here, but so far you've introduced us to non-caloric ice cream and cheap ice cream, which is fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was a super premium podcast. I was mistaken.
I've got super premium coming up next.
I bet you do. All right. Is it my turn? Can I say something or eat something?
No. You don't get to eat anything yet.
Damn. It's melting over here.
All right. You can have some. Go ahead.
All right. So the second brand is Zingerman. So Zingerman's. Zingerman's is the famous delicatessen, and they have lots of businesses in and around Ann Arbor. I'm in Detroit, pretty close to Ann Arbor. And they have a creamery, they make gelato. I haven't had Zingerman's gelato in a lot of years, but this was at the place I went to, Johnny Pomodoro's. Salted caramel chocolate chunk. It's salted caramel with chunks of stone ground chocolate.
How much was that pint?
The first ingredient was milk.
Oh, gosh.
This was $8.19.
That's a lot cheaper than I would have expected.
No, you're living in Chicago.
Yeah, but for Zingerman's so expensive.
Milk, that is disappointing.
I like their candy bars.
Yeah, Zingerman's is a class act in many ways. I don't want to turn it over here because, that was a close call.
So you let it get way too melty.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I was waiting for the podcaster to get his things together.
Now it's going to refreeze. How is it?
I'm just getting used to it.
My guess is that could you remind me what the flavor is?
Salted caramel.
Oh,
chocolate chunk.
I love salted caramel ice cream.
Me too.
You're shaking your head.
I'm shaking because the caramel just isn't pronounced enough, and the chocolate, like many chocolate and chocolate ice creams, different than Graeter's, and disappointing for Zingerman's, just doesn't taste or feel like really good chocolate. Graeter's has the really good chocolate thing down, but it was surprising again. Zingerman's is all about super premium ingredients.
Yeah, so that's one thing I don't understand about ice creams is that Graeter's is the only ice cream that does chocolate chips right. Every other ice cream that has chocolate chips, they're like these little puny flakes that add annoying texture and almost no flavor ever.
Yeah.
It can't be that hard to put in some good chocolate like Graeter's does.
This chocolate is okay once I chew it enough and it gets to a different temperature so I could actually taste it. A lot of times the chocolate, you just chew it and eat it while it's frozen and you can't really taste it. It's not as good as Graeter's, that's for sure. This is disappointing. I expect a lot from Zingerman's, but this isn't that good. And again, I can't really taste. It doesn't taste caramely to me, and for sure it doesn't taste salted. I'm okay with not a lot of salt.
How is the base though, like the consistency and everything?
I mean, it's creamy, but it's not. Again, maybe
milk's their first ingredient.
Exactly. I was just going to say I contaminated myself by reading the ingredients, but it's not as creamy as I want it to be. All right. I'll write a letter to the editor.
Wait, so humor me. What do the two that you've had get out of 100 so far?
By the way, all of this is about humoring you, right? The whole podcast, it's all about humoring Robin. So on your scale, if I understand it, The Ben and Jerry's s'mores, gimme s'more, is going to be an 83,
Okay.
and this Zingerman's is going to be a 79.
Okay.
I'm going to go
Yeah,
put
because I
this
mean,
one
I'm
back in
sure
the
it's
freezer. Go
okay.
ahead. If you have certainties, you make the comment. If you have
Yeah.
certainty about something.
No, I just, yeah. I'm certain that Zingerman's ice cream is going to be at least good, but
Yeah,
I'd gather that it's just not great. It's sad. It's just
it
sad.
is a little sad. It's good, it's good though to have the experience. It says you really can taste the difference. I worked at Zingerman's in 1987 for a year, back before it was all these different businesses, just when it was a deli, before they were making gelato and had other restaurants, etc. And it was a great place to work. I was a slicer before you were born.
Slicing meat?
I was slicing meat and bread. So they hand sliced all the bread. Then at that point in time, they didn't make it on their own. They got it from the Modern Bakery in Oak Park, Michigan.
So back then,
And
would they have really fancy meat still?
yeah,
Like
back
were they
then,
getting prosciuttos from Italy and stuff?
so they weren't as full blown as they are now, but they still back then from their inception in 1982 or three, always prided themselves on the best ingredients. So the way that they trained us folks that worked in the deli, they went out and they got lots of pasta salad, noodle salad, potato salad, coleslaw from the local Kroger, like the Jewel or whatever, from the whatever, and then they served us that, and then they served us their coleslaw and potato salad and macaroni salad, and then they started talking about extra virgin olive oil, and I didn't know what the hell that was back then, and they sort of were
That's
bad
awesome.
mouthing, yeah, they're bad mouthing the Kroger potato salad and telling us what to look for as we were eating this, and then of course selling it. All right, I'm gonna go put this in the freezer. But I'm glad you seem to be enjoying. Are you still on the second pint, the bubble gum? Yeah,
Almost done.
man.
Wait,
This
can
is
you?
I could do anything you want.
What?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Can I?
No, what
What?
were you gonna say? What were you gonna say?
So it's 11:44 where I'm at a.m. I've only had a cup of coffee so far. This is ostensibly brunch for me.
It's 10:45 a.m. for me.
Yeah, so we must be in a different time zone, but we're on the same planet. So I don't
Yeah.
quite understand who came up with time zones. All right, I'll be BRB.
Yeah. Well, you can still hear me, right? While you're
Loud and clear, loud and clear.
and I can. Are you talking right now?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you kind of too. So I can just keep talking. Well, this ice cream has a really. It definitely has kind of like an artificial mouthfeel. Like it doesn't feel like actual cream in my mouth. I guess I'm tasting the stabilizer emulsifier blend of cellulose gum, mono and diglycerides, guar gum, carrageenan, and polysorbate 80. But
right, that's some ice cream technology there. That's what brought you
yeah,
ketchup ice cream.
I'm here for it though. All right, second pint is
Adios.
very done. That one was very good.
All that ice cream and all the bubble gum in your system. I'd be forewarned that when you eliminate some of that ice cream, you might blow a bubble out of the wrong end. So just know what could happen. Yeah.
Ah,
All right. You
I
okay?
love
It
ice
almost
cream.
sounded like you're going to throw up.
no. I was just thinking about how much I love ice cream.
How many calories did that intake just have for you?
That one was 650.
All right, you're up in your game.
Yeah. Next one, I'll be upping my game even more.
What have you, before you had these 2 pints of ice cream, what else have you taken in today?
Today I had a protein shake when I got up, which was 44 grams of protein, and it was very disappointing. So I'm starting on my Instagram with my budding career, or I don't know. What do you call it? A dilettante? It's not a
You're
dilettante.
a dilettante,
A
a
dilettante. Well,
novice. You're a
I'm
novice.
I'm I'm dabbling. I'm not expecting to make any money, but I enjoy food, so it's kind of fun to do these things.
Sure.
But as you know, I rate all of these foods all day, and I started on Sundays. I'm going to do a weekly roundup of the good, the bad, and the noteworthy. And the good, I'm hoping to just be things above 90, which I rarely encounter, maybe once or twice a week. The bad, I mean, food.
What's a recent good? What's a recent good? What's a recent above 90?
Well, last week there were a few. There was a special edition blueberry pie Kit Kat bar, which
I saw that. I
blueberry
was a little
muffin Kit
surprised.
Kat bar. Yeah, I love that.
Talk
I
about
mean, I really
technology.
love artificial things.
Yeah, no
Then
shit.
there was an orange cream energy drink that was really good for a sugar-free energy drink, and then there were some pints of ice cream last. Oh yeah. So anyways, I was gonna say that this vanilla protein is gonna be the first of the bad because it's pretty bad. It's like chalky and artificial, and the flavors not good. But anyway, so I had a protein shake. Then when I was rucking, I had some strawberry licorice laces, and then when I got home, I had some turkey. And now I'm having
Got
ice
it.
cream. But so talking about, you said you don't like that. You're not super into the toppings as much, whereas I
I
totally am. I
I
mean,
like topping. So last night I took out my Trader Joe's vanilla ice cream. So here's what I did.
okay.
I cut up a banana. I put it in this big old bowl. I nuked. I know you don't like the microwave. The salted caramel sauce from Trader Joe's. I put that on top of the bananas. It's good caramel sauce. I got some super premium ice cream. I put the vanilla on top of that, and then I put some malt powder because I got a big thing of malt powder,
Oh
and
yeah.
I put some malt powder on top of that, and I then sort of did this is me using a spoon in the bowl here. I then
Okay. I
kind of
hope
made
that's what
my
it is.
own adventure milkshake, malt actually, and it was quite delicious. It was very
That
good.
sounds quite delicious.
Banana
Uh,
caramel vanilla. Oh yeah,
but I'm generally very into the fillings. I mean, obviously, I like a good base, but
sure.
I'm very into the fillings. But I think the best base that I've had is there's an ice cream in Chicago that's just, I think, was born in the pandemic, but it's called Ice Cream Girl, and it's just made by
I just saw you post something about them. Yeah.
a woman who has her. Well, now she rents space in like a group kitchen or something, but her base I think is the best base I've ever had. It is but it's so creamy. The only downfall of her ice cream, though, for me, is that she is very sparse on the fillings. So last
Uh,
week she had a flavor called "So Two Lemons Walk Into a Bar," and the lemon base was absolutely perfect. But then there was just the daintiest little ribbons of curd and then some crumbles of graham cracker. So it's still got a huge it's still got a great rating because that
but there's
base
a
was awesome,
downside. Yeah.
but there's a downside. But speaking of Sundays and the microwave, so I was the assistant manager of a candy/ice cream store for
Could
three and a
be
half
could be the
years.
top of your career. That could be it right
Yeah,
there.
we had one item on the menu called it's very not exciting, but like a brownie sundae, and
Sure.
we were supposed to cut up the brownie and then heat up the brownie and then put the ice cream on it, but I was always too lazy, and unless somebody there was watching me, I would just not
Yeah.
heat up the brownie. Uh, but
But that I think you were looking out for their best interest. You didn't want the ice cream to melt right away, and
yeah,
you
that's
don't want those
exactly it.
complaints. Yeah.
But I would go through phases what I would eat there. Obviously, I was probably eating
Yeah. More
50
than they
$80
weren't they
a
weren't making
shift.
any money on you.
No. But a couple of the things that stand out for me is I would make a milkshake with half raspberry sorbet and half vanilla ice cream, and it tasted just like the raspberry creamsicles, which I love. But then I would also make sundaes that were sometimes I'd do vanilla, but I also liked Superman. But I would put hot fudge on because we had really good hot fudge, and then just spoonful after spoonful of malt powder. I've definitely
malt
still
powder.
got pictures of me like pigging out on those behind the counter, like ducking beneath it where nobody could see me.
Right,
But
I'm sure in the post production of this, I'm sure that after you say the word "pictures of me," whatever, you're gonna superimpose the picture of Robin. I'd love to see the picture.
Actually, I bet I could pull that up. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that right now, but I'll make
All
a
right,
note. I'll make a note. Put up pictures
well, talk
of
to
me
your producer.
with
Talk to your
Sunday.
producer about it.
I'll talk to Robinson later.
Yeah, please. Yeah, it's
At
interesting. It's hard to find.
timestamp 29:45 on second recording.
But there's a lot of images that could go on this podcast.
Yeah,
Like
there are.
When you're eliminating the pink bubblegum ice cream, for instance. Yeah, there's a lot of
eliminating it.
I mean, it's a reality.
Everything else will be blurred out except for the bubble. But okay, I am going to go.
Okay,
and you can keep narrating because I can still hear you.
I'll keep talking.
But I'm gonna go get.
Well, we know what you're gonna do. We know what you're gonna do. You just go.
I'm gonna go get my third pint.
Yeah. That's good. All right, I like that the Robin chair there. I just want to give some history there. My father, Robin's grandfather, I think at the first birthday of all 5 of his grandchildren, did a project, wood making, wood carving, woodworking is what we want to say. And Robin's was the first project, and I'm just proud that you still have that. Is it easy to sit in that thing, or is it uncomfortable?
Yeah, I love it.
Caleb got the fourth born grandchild got a stool, which is pretty cool and a little racist and whatever, just because of the image of Caleb, the spy from the Bible. Sort of dark
I don't know
skin.
what that means. Okay.
Well, so there's a story. Caleb is a biblical name, and he was a good spy. There's a whole Bible story. I'm not going to go into it here just because I can't. And anyway, Tom Oren, Grandpa, Papa, made a stool that had an image of Caleb and then sort of the robe and blah, blah, blah. But it looked like a stereotypical African-American person. And it just sort of was like, this is 1998 or so.
This is
it's just kind of weird. 1890. And it's probably still in my garage, and it's not comfortable to sit in is another thing. That's why I'm glad that yours is comfortable. All right, got number 3?
Yeah, so for my third pint, I'm not sure you've ever had this, but I don't know all of the ice cream.
I haven't had most things, by the way. Yeah, in the world.
But I discovered in New York, I mean, though it's not really anything that needs to be discovered, or maybe I had it before. No, I didn't. I had it when I was still in Austin. There was a grocery store called Central Market so in Austin, in Texas in general, their Kroger type thing is H-E-B, but H-E-B has another branded supermarket called Central Market that is sort of there to compete with Whole Foods, and they had a great ice cream selection, like the best I've ever seen, and other than Jungle Gyms. But
that's a whole podcast in and of itself.
Yeah, but Jungle Gyms. I discovered Van Leeuwen there. Van Leeuwen, which is
I've never
Brooklyn
had Van Leeuwen, but I see Van Leeuwen here. I see it all over.
Okay, it's phenomenal. They've got some high 90s for me. But so they had a flavor at Jewel that I've never had, which, to be honest, I'm not too excited about, but I haven't had it, so I wanted to try it. And it is praline butter cake.
Oh, that's that name. It's a 93 right there. So
yeah.
I hope it lives up to it.
Oh, this pint is like 1,000 calories, so we're up in our ante. Oh, it looks pretty nice.
Tamper-proof, that's good. Do you remember a world where they didn't put that tamper-proof stuff on top of things?
Yeah. Crazy world that was.
That's because of the whole
Oh, wow.
Tylenol scale in the 1980s. We just went to Charleston, South Carolina, and got some
Oh
really
my
good pralines.
God.
Yeah, there you go. Swallow.
That's good.
That's a
some-
$10 pint, though, right? Compared to your $2.50.
Depends on where you get them, but
First
Juul's pretty cheap.
ingredient.
I think milk, cream, cane sugar, egg yolks. This was really good.
All right, I'm gonna overlap a little bit here with you.
I wonder though,
yeah,
if it would be way better if I hadn't just had 2 pints of ice cream.
you think?
It's really good though.
I'm just impressed that you're doing 3 pints of ice cream. I'm sampling from 3 pints, maybe a couple bites each. So this is
I could probably
I've heard
do
of
like
this.
6.
Yeah, we're impressed. We're jealous is actually what we are. So there's a new place in Detroit that I had just heard of, and I was just looking at. We were out to dinner, and we are going to go get some of this, and didn't. It's called Momento, Momento, Momento Gelato. It's a gelateria, right? And so when I was at Johnny Pomodoro's yesterday,
what is Johnny Pomodoro's?
It's just a neighborhood supermarket that caters to people like me who need to get horseradish right before the Seder or whatever, and ice cream. So Momento Gelato. This is Michigan blueberry.
Oh, that's nice.
That's good. We should talk about fruit in ice cream, and if there's a place for fruit in ice cream. The first ingredient, by the way, is blueberries. I don't believe that's true, but if that's true, that's impressive. If it's Michigan, by the way, you might know this. The Michigan blueberry season, it's June right now, late June, really happens in August. That's the third pint talking right there. Is your dental work giving you a little problem?
Yeah, I have a few fillings that have fallen out that I haven't gotten fixed.
Pardon. We don't. Who cares about those? Yeah, we're in this for ice cream.
Ow.
I'm sorry, you're having pain, but it might be self-induced.
It's gone.
So
it's gone.
Blueberries in Michigan aren't seasonal until August. So I'm hoping they're using Michigan blueberries. This is a new place, so that means that these blueberries are from other seasons. A little disappointing. Do you remember picking blueberries in Michigan ever when you were up in Glen Arbor?
Yeah.
Those were the days. We'd go to a wild blueberry patch.
Back when all the orange sons
no one was
were
divorced.
Still married.
Oh yeah, everybody didn't quite understand what the internet was yet, and we certainly weren't eating 3 pints of it. So this looks like it's blueberry. The blueberries are appropriately not big, but very much.
You say we weren't eating 3 pints of ice cream. Your mom once, when she and your dad would come to Chicago and bring us graders, and I had just finished my 4th pint within like the 24 hours they were there, and your mother is so hysterical, and she was like on the verge of tears and saying that I was on the slow road to suicide.
No,
after my 4th pint of ice cream.
There are different ways to kill yourself. That's one of them, depending on who you are. This is good. We could talk about whether fruit should be made into ice cream or gelato or sorbet. So this is this interesting mix. It's very blueberry-y, but it's also really creamy. I think I'd rather have this in a sorbet. They make sorbet, I believe. It's sort of a contradiction. It feels like I feel dirty eating blueberry ice cream. It should be sorbet, but it's very blueberry-y.
It looks.
And my guess is you're not going to find it anywhere else besides right here. Johnny Pomodoro's.
This is awesome.
This is.
I'm
awesome.
giving this.
Your ice cream is awesome. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually giving this a 94.
Wow. That's so. Next week we look forward to one of the highlights being that pint of ice cream.
It will be.
I mean the goods. You should call them the goods.
There are shortcomings.
I'm gonna go put this good in the freezer.
All right, but you can hear me, yeah?
I can still hear you.
Okay. The base is awesome. They have a great base. Oh, this is interesting. It's actually not premium ice cream. It's French ice cream. And I'll read the little blurb on the back. Why French ice cream? Eggs. Plenty of them. Turns out when you use twice as many egg yolks as standard ice cream, you have to call it French ice cream. Fine by us. Because whether it's using more eggs or having to legally change our name, we'll do anything to make the best ice cream on earth. Asterisk French ice cream. Because a life without anything good is bad. So
Sure,
this is actually French ice cream. And the base is absolutely awesome. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. I saw that. I'm very excited. But so the base is awesome.
Yeah.
There are little doughy cake bites that are super awesome too. There's not enough of them.
Yeah.
But then there are pecans, which I'm not a huge fan of.
Yeah.
All right. You're going to have a fourth
All
pint?
right. So I know that, yeah, I mean, this is one of the 3 pints that I got, and then you told me I should get new ones. This was, I haven't had a lot of Jenny's ice cream in my life, but at some point I decided I could afford Jenny's ice cream. I don't need to live, 2 for $5 anymore. And so this was the first Jenny's I had besides at
brown butter
a
almond
store.
Toffee. Brittle?
This was, it wasn't life-changing, but it certainly was life-enhancing, with the first ingredient being milk. Boy, I'm looking forward to this. One ice cream to rule them all.
That's awesome.
Makes it better. Oh my gosh. I'm going to need a little nap. Do you know John Pinette's comedy at all?
No.
You don't know John. So you should listen to John. I'll send you some John Pinette. He was the guy who
Jewish.
He wasn't. He's may he rest in peace. He's no longer with us. He was in the finales of Seinfeld.
Okay.
I don't know if do you remember, did you watch the end of Seinfeld? When the 4 of them were innocent bystanders to a guy who was being mugged, that was John Pinette. And then all 4 characters went on trial and they met all the former characters. But John Pinette is a very funny guy. He's a large guy. He does large guy comedy about eating. And one of the things that he talks about going to the gym, which is funny to you because it's a paradox to your life, is he hates the gym and he gets on the terrible equipment and he just starts thinking, if I finish this, I get to go home and have raviolis and a nap. So he starts chanting, raviolis and a nap, raviolis. So anyway, John Pinette is a funny guy. Again, may he rest in peace. This is hard.
I can empathize with that.
Yeah.
Is that the second time you've ever had it? It's that good?
Oh my God. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing it. Brown butter almond candy crushed into buttercream ice cream. By the way, I just want hats off to the ice cream makers that are still actually doing pints of ice cream, literal pints, rather than things that look like pints. This is a very important topic.
This looks like a pint, and it's 14 fluid ounces.
How does it say 1 pint?
No, this isn't a pint.
How many milliliters?
414.
So a pint is 473 milliliters. The ice cream industry recently, without us knowing it, and I think this is the most important thing we're going to get to on Robinson's podcast today, has gradually, slowly, clandestinely been trying to fool us that a pint is no longer a pint. So I want all of your listeners, and I know there are at least 3, to be eyes wide open at the supermarket and only buy pints and quarts and half gallons and so forth, because we don't want to succumb to that corporate multinational pressure that we know is out there. A pint is a pint is a pint.
I know. I'm disgusted by
disgusted.
What do we call it? Shrinkflation?
Yes. People study this. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
My mom, well, not my mom. I've run out of a lot of American candies, so I order candies from other places. And I ordered a bunch of Haribo gummies from Germany, and they use the same size bag as the Americans do, but their packages are filled with like twice as much gummy. And I've noticed over the years that the American Haribo, they just keep putting less and less in the package. It's
Your average
despicable.
American doesn't notice that. This is the problem. We need to organize and get the average American noticing what's going on right in front of them. Not just about gummies, but about everything. Pints, politics, and more.
Eating 3 pints of ice cream with you this morning has been very fun.
This is a fun thing for me too. I'm glad that if I ate 3 pints of ice cream, or fourth, I've introduced a fourth. What your grandmother said before, my mother, Helene, hysterical Helene, Tom. That's an impersonation of my mom talking to my dad. That would have been suicide by ice cream. And I don't want to joke about suicide. I'm a mental health professional, but it wouldn't have felt good, and it could have been a bad result. As is, it was a little questionable for me having about a half pint altogether before I ate anything else.
Well, you gotta live a little.
You gotta live a little.
3rd pint is done.
That's impressive. Now I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight when it's the normal ice cream time for me.
Just
I'm
eat
not
more
sure
ice
what's gonna
cream.
happen. Eat more ice cream.
Take an extra walk today.
I will. I do need to take an extra walk today or something. Yeah.
Oh, well,
All right. Do you have a closing? Do you have a closing argument here, or a theme song, or anything?
no, I'm just thinking. I mean, in another few months, once you've recovered, we should do another one.
I'm all game for anything, anytime, especially if we're talking about
Good.
the disappearance of the pint.
Good. Yeah, I just. So, have you heard of mukbanging?
Be careful.
That
there.
sounds like something I'd be fired for.
I'm not a fig plucker, nor am I a fig plucker's son, but I will pluck figs until the fig plucker comes. I have not heard of that. No.
Okay, so mukbanging originated in Korea, but it's when people sort of live stream themselves eating and other people watch, and sometimes they communicate with their audiences.
By the way, just let me say this. We are fucked up. The world has become a bad cesspool of people doing wrong things. But go ahead, please.
Well, I'm going to contribute to that. I just decided that I'm going, once I get to Stanford and I'm all settled in, I'm going to start not doing an hour like we did this morning, but eating what I classify them as my treats on like Instagram Live or something. So maybe you'll pop in and say hi.
I'm sure everydy's looking forward to that. And
yeah.
The problem with that is that some people might care. Some people might, oh, this guy named Robinson is eating dog treats on Instagram. Let's watch. Can't you get a life? Yeah. Okay, so that will be your philosophy. You'll be studying philosophy. One of your philosophies will be to live stream your good food intakes.
Yeah. Well, other people like real food, and I've just realized that while I do like real food, I much prefer candy.
Yeah. That's good. So we'll talk about Jungle Gyms at some point, but
let's talk about Jungle Gyms next time.
Have you been eating anything from any of the candies that you got from Jungle Gyms, or is that in a closet somewhere?
So first, can you briefly say what Jungle Gyms is now that we've...
So Jungle Gyms is a food theme park. So in Cincinnati, where I hail from, and Robin and I were recently there for my parents' 65th wedding anniversary, there's a place called Jungle Gyms that started as a produce stand, unbeknownst to me when I was growing up, probably. And it grew and it grew and it grew. And now I swear to God, although there's not a roller coaster inside, it's like a theme park. So you go in and it's just a monstrosity of acreage where you can get anything. And so the first time that anyone goes there, it's like an oh my God experience. And it's also a paradox because it's sort of in suburban, rural, hicky kind of Cincinnati where you wouldn't think that people are going there to buy, olives or tins of scallops from Spain or whatever you're doing. So that's what it is. It's got anything you want. In a crazy kind of way. It's an Uber supermarket. That's my experience. And you were there for the first time recently.
Yeah, I was there for the first time recently. And so, it was, we can talk more about it later, but it was absolutely overwhelming to me.
Yes.
I don't think I was not prepared for it, even though you and my dad were talking about it. It just I've been eating as much candy as I can for the past 2 years. I've exhausted
we couldn't be more proud, by the way. Yeah. Go ahead.
I worked in a candy store for years, and within like 5 minutes, I'd see more candies that I'd never seen than like I knew existed, just because they have aisles for like every country in the universe. But so I was quickly overwhelmed, and I just filled my basket with like $100 worth of candy, and then just kind of walked around. And no, I have a strict first in, first out policy.
Oh, so, that's good. You do crop rotation. That's good.
Yeah. So I've got like 50 pounds of candy under my bed right now. My mom like walked into the room the other day and said that I'm like a dragon sleeping on his treasure because my like bed is just lined with bags of candy.
That's a proud mama right there.
Yeah. I haven't gotten to it yet. I'm still working on candy that I bought in New York.
Got it. All right. Well, we'll talk more about jungle gyms and everything that we need to talk about. But thanks for having me on.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm excited to do it again.
Have a good rest of your day. Raviolis and a nap.